Ever pondered why racism still persists in the land of the free? Why, in an era of technological advancements and social progress, do we still cling to such archaic prejudices? Yes, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but racism remains a pervasive issue in America. It's deeply embedded in the fabric of our society, stretching its tentacles into every corner of our lives. From the justice system to education, from voting rights to economic disparities, and from healthcare to immigration, no area of society is untouched by this scourge. In this video, we're going to shine a light on this dark underbelly of American society. We're going to name and explore the 10 states in America where racism is most prevalent. This isn't about pointing fingers or assigning blame. It's about acknowledging the truth, understanding the problem, and initiating a conversation that could, hopefully, lead us to solutions. Today, we delve into the deep-rooted racism in 10 American states. First on our list is Alabama, a state with a notorious history of segregation. Ever since the days of Jim Crow, Alabama has been a hotbed for racial discrimination. It was once a place where separate schools for black and white students were the norm, and where systemic racism was deeply ingrained in every aspect of life. But it's not just history. The legacy of segregation continues to echo through Alabama's institutions today. From its education system to its criminal justice system, the structures that perpetuate racial inequality continue to exist. For instance, the racial achievement gap in Alabama's schools is a glaring reminder of this legacy. Furthermore, Alabama's voting laws have often been criticized for suppressing the votes of people of color, a practice that harks back to the era of segregation. It's clear that the state has a long way to go in overcoming its racially charged past. The echo of Alabama's racially charged past rings loud in the present. Mississippi, a state where racial disparities are glaringly evident. This southern state, steeped in history, is a place where the ghosts of a segregated past still linger, casting long shadows on the present. Let's take a closer look. In education, the gap is wide and troubling. Majority of the school districts with predominantly black students receive less funding than those populated by their white counterparts. This disparity in resources often results in unequal education outcomes. The healthcare sector isn't exempt from this reality. There's a glaring racial disparity in access to quality healthcare. Predominantly black communities often lack adequate healthcare facilities, leading to poorer health outcomes. In the job market, black Mississippians face higher unemployment rates and lower wages compared to white residents. This economic inequality further perpetuates the cycle of poverty and disadvantage. Mississippi's racial divide remains a stark reminder of its tumultuous past, but it also serves as a call to action for a more equitable future. Next, we head to Louisiana, a state with a racially skewed justice system. This southern gem, known for its vibrant culture and rich history, is also marred by a troubling trend of racial disparity within its legal framework. In Louisiana, justice seems to be viewed through tinted lenses. The scales of justice tilt alarmingly when it comes to sentencing and incarceration rates. A disproportionate number of African Americans find themselves behind bars compared to their white counterparts. These stark differences extend beyond prison walls, seeping into every aspect of the judicial process. Even more disconcerting is the reality that these disparities are not mere anomalies, but deeply entrenched patterns, reflective of systemic issues that persist to this day. The implications of these trends are far-reaching, affecting families, communities, and the very fabric of the state's society. In the end, one can't help but question, is justice truly served in Louisiana? Justice in Louisiana, it appears, is not colorblind. Georgia, a state where voting rights have been a racial battleground. Let's delve into the racial implications of Georgia's voting laws. These laws have been scrutinized for their impact on minority communities, and for a good reason. Historically, laws have been enacted that disproportionately affect racial and ethnic minorities, making it harder for them to cast their votes. These laws often include strict voter ID requirements, closure of polling places in minority neighborhoods, and purges of voter rolls. Unfortunately, these tactics are not relics of the past, but a disturbing reality of the present. They continue to fuel racial inequality and suppress minority voices. In the face of such suppression, it's crucial to understand that the fight for voting rights is far from over. It's a continuing struggle, a battle that must be fought every day. The right to vote in Georgia, unfortunately, is not free from racial bias. South Carolina, a state where education is not an equal opportunity. In the heart of the South lies a state that is grappling with deep-seated educational disparities. The racial divide in South Carolina's education system is a stark reality that reveals itself in access and quality. This divide is not just a line on a map, but a chasm that separates opportunities and future prospects. Many Black and Hispanic students find themselves on the less fortunate side of this divide, attending under-resourced schools that struggle to provide the quality education every child deserves. Meanwhile, their white peers often benefit from well-funded schools, replete with resources that foster learning and growth. It's a tale of two education systems, separated not by merit, but by race. The repercussions of this gap echo beyond the classroom, affecting employment, income, and social mobility. It's a cycle that perpetuates inequality, generation after generation. Education, a vital path to progress, remains unequal in South Carolina. Texas, a state where economic prosperity is not evenly distributed. Here, the racial wealth gap is more than just a statistic. It's a lived reality for many. This gap is most visible in the realms of income and homeownership. Consider this. White households in Texas typically have a median income that is nearly twice that of Black and Hispanic households. This income disparity leads to a ripple effect, influencing opportunities for education, healthcare, and career advancement. When it comes to home ownership, the picture is just as stark. White Texans are significantly more likely to own homes than their Black and Hispanic counterparts. This not only affects wealth accumulation but also community stability and access to quality education, which are often linked to property values. In Texas, these disparities are not simply numbers on a page, they are barriers to economic mobility and indicators of systemic racism. Indeed, in Texas, the American dream is not an equal reality. Arizona, a state where immigration is a racial flashpoint. Here, immigration policies have long been a topic of heated debate, often with racial undertones. Arizona's legislation, like the controversial Senate Bill 1070, has been criticized for its potential to racially profile individuals, particularly those from Latino communities. This law, requiring police to determine an individual's immigration status during a lawful stop, has raised concerns about racial profiling and civil rights violations. The Latino community, constituting a significant part of Arizona's population, feels the brunt of these policies. Families are torn apart and individuals live in fear, not knowing if they'll be the next ones caught in the crosshairs of these regulations. Moreover, such policies foster a climate of fear and mistrust, not just within the Latino community but throughout the state, creating divisions among its people. In this way, Arizona's immigration policies have racial implications that extend beyond the immediate impact on individuals and families. In Arizona, immigration is a racially charged issue. Florida, a state where health is not an equal privilege. In the Sunshine State, the sun doesn't shine equally on all. The racial health disparities are glaringly evident here, and it's time we shed light on them. For African Americans and Hispanics, access to quality healthcare is significantly less than their white counterparts. It's not just about the availability of services, but also the quality of care received. Imagine two people with the same illness, but one gets better treatment just because of their race. It's a harsh reality many non-white Floridians face. And these disparities don't just affect individuals, they ripple out, affecting families and communities. In the face of a health crisis, these disparities become even more pronounced. Non-white communities are disproportionately affected with higher rates of illness and death. The pandemic has only highlighted these existing inequities. In Florida, health is a privilege, not a right. It's a situation that needs urgent attention and action. Only then can we hope to see a healthier, more equitable Florida. North Carolina, where racial tensions simmer beneath the surface. The racial climate in this state is a complex and multifaceted issue, one that can't be fully grasped without delving into the alarming prevalence of racial profiling and police violence. Take a moment to consider this. In North Carolina, an African-American driver is more likely to be pulled over by the police than a white driver. That's not a random occurrence, but a systemic problem, a manifestation of racial profiling, and it doesn't stop there. The likelihood of experiencing police violence also skews disproportionately against people of color. These aren't just numbers or statistics, these are realities that people face every day. They are the ripples of a long history of racial inequality that still echo in the present. This is the racial climate in North Carolina. It's a chilling reminder of the work that lies ahead. It's a call to action, a call for change, a call for justice. North Carolina's racial climate is a chilling reminder of the work that lies ahead. The fight against racism is far from over. Now that we've uncovered the bitter truths of racial disparities, it's time to turn our knowledge into action. It's not enough to merely acknowledge the existence of racism. We need to actively combat it. Educate yourself and others. Ignorance is the soil in which prejudice grows. Seek out books, documentaries, and articles that challenge your perspective and broaden your understanding. Speak up, speak out. When you witness racism, don't stay silent. Your voice is a powerful tool for change. Be the person who stands up, not the one who stands by. Support anti-racist policies and organizations. They are on the front lines of this fight, pushing for justice and equality. Your support, whether it's through donations, volunteering, or advocating for their causes, can make a significant difference. Remember, your voice matters. Use it to fight against racism, to build a more equal and just America.